What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of 2 for 2, your sports podcast for the culture, by the voice of the culture. I'm your host, Quis, and I'm here as always with my brother, Nell. And we're back with another episode for y'all today, man. Season 3, episode 47. We talking NBA free agency. We talking NBA draft. We talking NBA still, man. So sit back, enjoy this one with us. We're going to give it to you right now. Nell, how you doing, bro?
We back, man. We back. We are so back. Feeling great, man. How are you?
I was good till I saw that jersey when I picked up the thing today, hopped on here. But in all honesty, I'm doing good, man. It's, 4th of July weekend. I don't really care too much for the holiday, but I get a day off of work, So, we got that coming up, man. The NBA season is upon us. Shout out to them Knicks. Shout out to them Sixers. Shout out to all the NBA teams, man. I can tell y'all exactly how I feel right now, but we're going to get into it anyway. So we're going to start off right with it now. NBA free agency has been something, right?
Depending on who you ask.
Right, depending on who you ask. We had some moves happen, actually, ironically enough, I think it might have been some hours after the pod last week. Mikal Bridges, that's my boy's name, right? Mikal Bridges traded to New York Knicks. The Knicks traded off, 5 first-rounders. A lot of people had a lot to say about that.
Yes, he worked.
Not as big of a deal as you think. But the Knicks traded for Mikal Bridges. We have completed the Villanova boys, the Villanova Knicks, man. They've made their way to New York. They said it couldn't be that's what started this whole thing off. Right? Then I think come through a couple days later, boom, OG Anunoby re-signs with the Knicks. Hey, as a Sixers fan, how do you feel about the Knicks after these two moves to add arguably two of the top 3-and-D wings in the NBA? I won't even put a number on it. 2 of the top 3-and-D wings in the NBA today. A Villanova guy that, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, fans have been talking about for a little while. How do you feel, man, about the Knicks to start off free agency? Those are the first 2 big moves coming from my Knicks. How do you feel about it?
I mean, when I woke up that following morning, I was pretty upset about it, but mere bag of shells. We got PG now. We good. We got it. We didn't need necessarily a 3-and-D wing. We needed an all-star wing. We needed a all NBA caliber wing, and that's what we went out there and got. I mean, look, great move for the Knicks. OG and Mikal. I mean, like you said, two of the best, 2 of the better 3-and-D wings in this league, and if you want to win a championship or at least have a chance to compete, you got to have wings. Tatum and Brown coming off a championship. Now you got 2 guys that, you going into that matchup, you're like, I feel comfortable, with them guarding them. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get shut down, but, I'm comfortable. It's not barbecue chicken. It's not, damn, we got to send our whole team and come up with weird coverages. We can 6'8", 6'7". We living with those matchups, and they gonna compete. So it's a great fit. It'll be interesting to see, with you guys losing Hartenstein, what you guys do there. So, Knicks definitely got better, I'll say.
I touched on it all, man. The Knicks, they signed, or they make their trade for Mikal Bridges first, ship off Bojan Bogdanovic, who the Philadelphia Sixers took out in our playoff run. So we bounced back. We signed OG. I think it was, 5 years, $212. A lot of people were like, that's a lot of money. But then, like you said, the Knicks lose Hartenstein. Sixers on the backside. They make the deal. They get Paul George after he opted out. Big pickup for them. Personally, it's not moving me, but partially that's my Knicks bias.
I knew it wouldn't.
No, I'm gonna get to it. Partially that's my Knicks bias. But what I do recognize is that my thing is that Paul George is 34. He's on the back half of his career, right? You and the same people that gave me a lot of slack about OG Anunoby, just for y'all to go and give this guy the same deal.
We gave you slack about OG because he's never made an all-star team, never made an all-NBA. He's not a one-on-one scorer. Like you said, he's 3-and-D. Now, apparently, right. $200 million is, gets you the top 3-and-D guys
That's the
Sure, but
market. That's
if
the
I'm
market.
giving out 200, I want an all-star. I want an all NBA caliber player. So that's just me.
Hey, you want 19 points a game in the playoffs, man. You want playoff P, podcast P. You got them. But this is what this was my point. My point is that I have to take into account that y'all have what we don't. And as of right now, we don't have that. Y'all have a megastar, right? Y'all have Joel Embiid. When you think of Joel Embiid, like you put him on the tier with Jokic, having a Giannis, before LeBron turned basically 40, LeBron, those guys. So Paul George does actually move the needle for you all in that regard, right? Like you just added a guy who can be Kapu at one point in time, all NBA guy.
You want to before you finish, my bad. You want to tell the people what Tobias Harris had in Game 6 against the Knicks?
I don't want to talk about Tobias
Tell the
Harris.
people. Tell the people what
But
Tobias Harris had in Game 6, please.
was it 0?
He scored as many points as you and me.
Yeah, and okay. That's my thing though with this deal. I feel like Sixers fans are looking at it like that from a pure like addition and subtraction. Like we lost this, and at worst we were this good with Tobias. So everybody's thinking with Paul George, it can't be that bad. You know what I'm saying? It can't be.
We can only go up from here.
Yeah, only up from here. I'll give you credit, and then you go on right, and you sign Andre Drummond, backup center, after y'all drafted.
Move ever had for Embiid.
Okay, drafted Adam Bona Adem Bona in the draft. Where I told you I think you'll like him as well. And then you resign. You give Maxey a new deal. So from the looks of it now, just to start off the pod, man, it seems like the Knicks and the Sixers are two pretty big winners so far in this offseason. I can't complain about it, man. So that's setting the stage for the East, right? We're gonna take y'all through this thing. That's setting the stage for the East. But we also have some other moves now. Klay Thompson officially a sign and trade deal to the Dallas Mavericks. All right, Klay Thompson. I think a lot of things came out. They talked about him originally. He wanted to come back to the Warriors for the right price. He said the Warriors were lowballing him. I think they just came out today. They said that he went to Steph, and he was like, look, Steph, if they're going to pay me, I want them to pay me. You don't go say nothing about it. Didn't work out. He moved on. Came down to what? The Clippers, the Lakers, and the Mavericks, and he goes with Dallas. There's been a lot of talk about this fit. Mavericks fans that I didn't know existed until, this finals run, right? They're like, oh, we back. We back. That's what the people are saying. I think, Klay Thompson, arguably the second best shooter of all time. I think this is a great fit for him. I think he needed a change of scenery. I think that he was done with Golden State. I think that Golden State in its entire, I think Golden State as a whole is kind of done. So for him, you knew he was going to stay somewhere out west, right? He wants to play the Warriors again multiple times, maybe even win a finals coming out of the West. I think him next to Kyrie and Luka is great. I think they also signed Najee Marshall as well. They lost Derrick Jones and Josh Green, but they get Najee Marshall and Klay. We look at it the same way that you did with your Sixers, right? Josh Green, Klay Thompson, Derrick Jones Jr., Najee Marshall. Seems like a pretty good win. What do you think about Klay Thompson going to Dallas? Do you think does this put Dallas in position to repeat coming out of the West? Does it make them better? Does it make them worse? Is Klay washed? What's the reality of this whole thing?
I think a lot of it remains to be seen. Even Klay, obviously, this was like, think about the way we're talking about him. Everyone's wondering if he's washed and, saying he had such a rough year, which, to his standards, he certainly did. But at the end of the day, still shot 39% from three in a down year. I'm sure he's going to be highly motivated with a new team and new contract. And, now he doesn't have to worry about, trying to play for a contract. I think he'll be a little bit more loose and, maybe he has a resurgent season and, he shoots 40% from three. Even if he shoots 39%, I think that's going to be a huge help to the Dallas Mavericks. If he can, he's kind of lost defensively. He's definitely not the defender that he used to be. So, that kind of sucks. And we'll see if there's any more regression on that end, because that could come back to bite them, because Derrick Jones was, a huge help for them defensively. Josh Green would come in and help. But like you said, now you got Najee Marshall, and, he'll help out. But it's a good start. I think I can't really say whether they're better or worse. I want to say they're better because I think Klay gives them another option offensively that you can really rely on. Like, the big reason they made this run to the finals was, guys like PJ Washington and, Josh Green, and guys started knocking down some shots. That's not something that, they're accustomed to doing on a consistent basis. At least now with Klay, you have another consistent shooter, and Luka and Kyrie are going to draw a bunch of attention. You think about that OKC series and the amount of open corner threes that they were able to generate. Imagine if that's Klay Thompson now instead of Josh Green and Derrick Jones. It remains to be seen, but my gut tells me they got better. Like we talked about after the finals, whether they could get back and have another run. I think they've got the pieces to get back and get another run, but I still think there's, we'll get into it, but I think Denver, if they can make some moves, I think it's still a matchup problem for Dallas going against Jokic. Minnesota, we'll see what other kind of roster moves they make. He's, had a hell of a offseason so far, adding Caruso and Hartenstein. That'll be a much different matchup than the one that we saw in the second round this year. There's a couple teams out west, but Dallas definitely is still in that mix.
It doesn't hurt them, I don't think. To your point, a lot of, I think, what plagued them in the final series was the simple fact that Boston had enough guys that they could throw at Luka and Kyrie. And I think Boston was okay with, Lord, please let Derrick Jones try to get 10 points on us. If PJ gets his 15, great. We'll live with Derek Lively and Gafford trying to finish her with Jason Tatum. Adding Klay Thompson does what you said. If nothing else, it adds somebody else you have to pay attention to. Like, regardless of how much he regresses defensively, this is still a guy that can score the ball and get 30 points off 5 dribbles, 3 dribbles, however many dribbles it was. I can't remember. But, he's going to shoot better. I thought, like we said, he will be way, way, way more motivated now than he has been in the last 2 years in Golden State. I think the last 2 years in Golden State, it's pretty clear he hasn't really been in it, right? Like, I'm not saying he's not trying, because obviously he's trying. Like, nobody's going to say a guy's not trying. Like, they kind of, the pressure from, is Golden State done? Is Klay done? What are they going to do with the Draymond situation? All the extra pressure that went on having Steph trying to, carry the team while Klay recovered and do all this and that. Now, look, Klay, you're the third guy on a team with 2 of the best ISO scorers in the NBA. Your game's a lot different now. Right? You're not running off screens, pin downs, different things. You can come off different actions. You have a guy like Luka Doncic who will draw 3-4 guys sometimes. And if teams want to leave Klay Thompson open, they'll just lose. I mean, I see that happening, and I think the defensive part of it is, I think their thing is more of, can they get guys to just buy into trying? Like I think they've accepted, hey, we might not be the best defensive team in the NBA. Losing Derrick Jones hurts them in that regard. Josh Green, same thing. That was their job. Guard other teams' wings, be athletes, give us second chances, and hit open shots when you get them. Now it's just, hey, look, we lost that. Luka, can you try this year? Klay, can you try? Kyrie, can you keep trying? And then can we score enough points to maybe go win us a championship? So, hey, I ain't mad at him. It's a great move. I just knew that Klay was going to go to the Lakers. It felt like the thing that was going to happen, even though I didn't necessarily know if it made sense, so to speak. Hey, shout out to Dallas. The West is getting better as well. Another team out West, a team that we talked about a lot, rather. We're not going to talk about this team, but DeJounte Murray traded to the New Orleans Pelicans. He's a new starting point guard out there, alongside Zion Williamson and CJ McCollum, right? It looks like the Pelicans are going to move on from Brandon Ingram at some point. Jonas Valanciunas is gone. But we had talked about what Atlanta was going to do right now, and here we are on the backside of it. We wondered what they were going to do in the draft. They didn't take Alex Sarr. You were right. We got to give Nell credit, man. Nell said Zachary Richardson would be who he took at number 1.
I feel like I said Sarr. I feel like I might have said Sarr. I don't remember.
You said Ricochet because you
Hope
said
I
you didn't know how
did.
to say it. Yeah, you
Hope
said
I
you didn't know how
did.
to say
So I
it.
was right.
Yeah, you was
Thought I
right.
said so.
No, I said Sar. They took Ricochet and then they traded off DeJounte Murray. Forget what it does for the Hawks. But DeJounte had to we knew it was either Trey or DeJounte. One of the two had to go. You traded him. You take Ricochet. I'm assuming he's probably gonna play the 2-3 anyway. What the heck? You keep Trey Young. DeJounte Murray. How does he fit in New Orleans? Is it a good fit now? Is it something that, makes this Pelicans team more formidable? I think I saw a stat that said like they were one of the worst teams at closing games, like finishing games that were close games. They didn't have a closer that they could go to. They wanted to be BI, but it was BI was hurt. Zion's not a big shooter, so close games. You kind of know where he's going with it. So you put a lot of pressure on CJ McCollum. But now you got DeJounte Murray, a guy who's not afraid of the big moment, not afraid of the big shot. Can play defense. He can run your offense. He can score it. What do you think now? Is this a good move for the Pelicans?
Solid pickup. Like you said, I think some more help for with CJ McCollum. He's more of an off guard, and he can be a secondary playmaker, but you have him kind of go back to being more of a scorer. Have DeJounte Murray take over. It could work out. I'm not really. I don't know. I kind of liked Ingram in New Orleans. I guess I can understand why they're trying to move him. And they've got a bunch of nice young wings, and with Murphy losing Valanciunas is going to be rough for them, though. I'm interested to see how they rebound and what they do to try to get another center, because we know Zion ain't playing no 5. I think Larry Nance is on the roster.
I
He's more.
would think Zion's rebounding numbers will be better than they are. Like I remember I looked at him one time. I'm like, bro, that was like 5-6 boards a game. Like that's it.
Yeah, he don't crash like that. So that's why like getting the center for them, but it's going to be crucial. And I mean, if they're for sure moving on from Ingram, depending on what they get back, like I'm not. They were an 8. They were an 8th seed this year, right? And that was. Were they in the top 8 before the
No,
play-in?
no, they were
Yeah.
playing
So I think they'll just still be in that 8 to 10
spot.
range, and that's if Zion is healthy and they can, figure out what they're going to do with Ingram and that center spot. They've still got a lot of question marks. Like they brung in, a productive player. I think DeJounte's made an All-Star team before. I think so, right?
I don't know about that one. I got you.
But he's had a couple of really good years. Like he's a productive point guard. He plays both sides of the
Oh,
ball.
nice.
So,
That's
yeah.
2022.
So yeah. So you got an All-Star guard, caliber guard to go along with Zion. Hopefully he can stay on the court. Because when he's on the court, they're a totally different team. But they've still got a lot of other question marks that they've got to answer. And as of now, I think they're still a playing team.
I would love to see them with BI still. I would like to see what DeJounte, CJ, Brandon Ingram, Zion, and a 5-man would look like.
I feel like when we saw Ingram, Zion, McCollum all play, like they were a formidable team.
Right?
2 years ago, they were top 3 in the West before Zion went down. This past year, I think they were like top 5, maybe top 6. Then they started tailing off, and then he was completely out. But I think it would have
got hurt this year too. At the end of the year,
Yeah.
he wasn't even 100% in that playoff run that they tried to make.
So like I got to look that up. I'd be interested to see what their record is when all 3 of them play together.
Yeah, it's a move that like we said, as of now, BI is still a Pelican, so we can't speak on. I know some teams are looking for him. A team that I'm about to talk about, right? Let's move on now to some of our biggest disappointments in free agency. My number one, or one of my number ones, I got a couple number ones. The Golden State Warriors got to be considered a big loser right now in free agency. You haven't signed a soul. At least not to my knowledge. I think they bought back Gary Payton, but that was even before the free agency began. You lose Klay. And now, they whiffed. I think they said there was a trade, and all these things, of course, not sure how true they are, but I think it was a trade that was reported that for Zach LaVine, that the Bulls offered Zach LaVine for like Chris Paul, Wiggins, and something else. And they're like, no. And it's like, okay. You let Chris Paul walk to go to the Spurs. You didn't even trade him, right? You pushed back his extension. You extended his date to extend him just to get to the date, not trade him, not sign and trade, nothing. You just release him off. He goes to the Spurs now. And I think you're just kind of in a tough spot right now as the Golden State Warriors when you consider how much better the West is getting collectively, whether that be the teams that are younger getting older, adding guys, whatever. I don't even remember who they drafted. Do you remember who they drafted? Exactly. So, the Warriors are definitely up there for me. I think, who was it we were talking about before this joint?
You said
Go ahead with your Milwaukee. There it is. The Milwaukee Bucks. Their biggest, I think, as my boy Temp said, our boy Temp that was on here before, and he said their biggest addition was Darvinham. A team that underperformed last year, right, in terms of expectations. Granted, Giannis was hurt. Dame was hurt. They fired a coach, whatever. But, that team has some holes. They have some glaring needs. As is, I do not think that roster is a top team in the East. Simple. We're considering how the Knicks made moves, the Sixers made moves. Boston, they win the championship, and then they get a boy, 5 years, 314. Jesus Christ, I think the Celtics got it's $930-something million in they starting five. Like, that's absurd money. Absurd money. So I don't think the Bucks got that much better. Well, they didn't get much better at all. They signed DeLon Wright, so they got a backup point guard. Good pro, but that's not the glaring need. I think they talking about moving Brook Lopez, maybe.
I don't think they should do that.
I don't either. And then my last disappointment, I don't know if I'm cutting into your disappointments, but the Los Angeles Lakers have to be on my list as far as free agency goes. Now it's gonna be a flip in a couple minutes, but as far as free agency goes, again, another team that their best acquisition is that they got a new coach, JJ Redick, cool, but they haven't signed anybody, right? Like, they missed out on Klay. Bron opts out, says he's willing to take a pay cut for a bevy of guys. And as of today, we haven't seen that notification come through our phones that they've added any of those guys with DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Paul George. Shoot, I don't know who else he had on there. I think whatever. I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it. This is a team that we talked about all year. They weren't a competitive roster, right? They're not competitors as is. Adding Dalton Connect and Bronny don't make you a competitor. Don't change your team fortune. You don't know. You got a glaring problem with D'Lo right now. They don't know if they're bringing him back. They don't know if they're going to trade him. He opted into his last year to get that money, but I think there's a mutual understanding that he won't be there. But you haven't done anything with him yet, so nothing's changed for this team except for they got older, which is the worst case scenario for the Lakers. But what do you have, Nell? What team disappointed you this offseason so far with the free agency moves? If I didn't take them all already, my bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the Denver Nuggets. You got
want Russ. Jokic wants Russ.
You got a 3-time MVP, Finals MVP, champion. You let KCP walk. I know you aren't too high on KCP, but
I wasn't high on KCP going to your team.
But he is was it Braun as their two? Like, the issue this past postseason was like their depth was and their bench was awful. You got to find a backup center to give Jokic, be able to spell him some minutes. Their bench depth right now just does not look good, and it's kind of crazy because, like, if you would ask me last year, I would have thought the Nuggets were about to run the NBA for a couple of years, just the way Jokic was playing, and how he made everyone look better. And I guess we'll kind of see if he can live up to that, if this roster doesn't get a lot better. Because the way we saw Minnesota kind of play them last year, I think people got the recipe, got the recipe for the Nuggets. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But still, like, I thought it would have been easy. I was like, oh, they just got to make a couple roster tweaks. I didn't even know KCP was a free agent. I was like, they just got to make a couple roster tweaks and they'll be, right back in the mix to win a championship. But, it's currently constructed I think they'll still have a chance because Jokic is just like that special. Once they get into later rounds and their depth is tested, I'm not liking the way it's looking for them right now. And then, bringing up the Warriors, I think, having Steph Curry in 34, 35 years old, having him, playing on play-in teams and possibly could be a lottery team this year. Unfortunately, I'm thankful that they didn't get Paul George, but they did try to make a move for Paul George. That would have been a big time move for them. I've heard some words about, them adding marketing. That could be a nice pickup for them. But as of right now, it's looking like they could be, picking in the top 5, top 10 of the draft.
Hey, it all comes back full circle, brother. How it starts to how it finishes.
Yeah,
it's just looking like Steph about to go out the way it came in, man.
You
sorry, Warriors team.
You can't do stuff like that, man. You gotta find a way to put some pieces around him. I mean, he's still.
It's Draymond. It's Draymond. You gotta. I told somebody earlier today. I was like, if I was a free agent looking at the Warriors, I would never go play for them. Not as long as Draymond's there.
I mean, I feel like players among players, like they just have different reputations with each other.
I mean,
I feel like the way the media comes at Draymond, I feel like unless you're somebody that he actually like, stomped in the chest or, kicked in the nuts, I feel like you ain't really got no bad blood. You're gonna be like, nah, I ain't going to Golden State because of him.
I feel it. I just think the situation is bad too. Like you said, it's just not. Steph's getting older. Steph is still Steph. Don't get me wrong, but
that's what happens when you win a championship and you start overpaying everyone. One of them got 120 mil, or both of them. Poole and Wiggins both got over 100 million.
Now they're trying to move. They're trying to move Wiggins. That whole roster is about to be.
Again, Wiggins has not been the same since that finals. It's the price of winning the championship, I guess.
So I'm gonna throw you. Man, I guess we kind of talk. We gonna talk about it, but right now on the spot, give me your top 3 in the East and the West post free agency.
I'll say the East for a second. Last, I'll go OKC. I'll go OKC, Dallas, Minnesota.
No Denver.
I still think Denver is in that mix, especially for the regular season, but I'll go those 3.
Okay. And then East, I know. Hey, don't mess this up. Don't mess this up.
We got the defending champs, the Boston Celtics. We got those Philadelphia 76ers with the addition of Paul George. And I'm honestly, bro, you're going to hate me for this. I'm going to Milwaukee Bucks.
There's no way. There's no way.
They gotta make some moves. They do gotta make some moves. Ain't like they about to just go into the season with nothing. So, I'm sorry. If Giannis and Dame are healthy, I'm taking that over Brunson and Randall, Brunson and OG, whatever duo you want to like throw at me.
It's Brunson and Randall. Why are you doing this?
Okay, my bad. Is Randall gonna be there? He 100% there next year?
I can't say that.
Okay. Then.
I don't know what's in the tuck. Leon cooking up, man.
We gonna see.
Is though, post free agency, he on the roster. So
okay.
I feel like people are overstating the loss of Isaiah Hartenstein. Like I understand.
I don't know. It depends on. All right, if you let's say, are you starting Mitchell Robinson?
He was our starting center.
Okay, who's the backup
right now?
And before I ask you that, who played better at the end of the season, or even when Mitchell Robinson was healthy, who was playing? Who do you think was playing better, Hartenstein or Robinson?
In the beginning of the year, Mitchell Robinson.
No, but I'm saying like Mitchell Robinson at his best point in the season and Hartenstein the way he played at the end of the season.
It just changes the dynamic. It changes the dynamic of the offense just because Hartenstein is much better at he moves better without the ball. He has more of a floating touch around the basket. He's a better passer. That helped our offense a lot. He's a great offensive rebounder as well, great defensive rebounder as well. Mitchell Robinson is a much better shot blocker. equally as good, if not better, offensive and defensive
which makes
rebounder.
him prone to more fouls too.
I mean, this is true. And he's more injury prone. That is Mitchell Robinson's only issue. Mitchell Robinson's main problem is that he gets hurt too much. And I agree. Like, that's why we all wanted Hartenstein, because of the fit, because of the injuries, whatever. But I mean, let's not act like this guy. I mean, come on, bro.
I feel you. I just, as a Sixers fan, I feel a lot better not having to go against both of them.
Hey, just wait. What I've been reading today,
I don't know who you're getting that's going to make me go, damn, he's coming off the bench as soon as Mitchell Robinson goes. Like,
just wait. Just wait. What I read today is gonna kill you when you hear it.
All right.
That's okay. You don't have to put my team at the top 3. That's why I asked you the question. I put you on the spot. You didn't get to think about it thoroughly. I'll let that. I'm gonna just remember that.
Pacers up there too.
About a free agency. You trying to piss me off today on this fine Tuesday afternoon. But we're gonna move to the draft. You know, me and Nell aren't draft experts. We're not draft scouts. You know, we had a draft preview. We talked about some good things that we liked. The draft happened. The first 2-day draft in NBA's history, I think. Who are your draft winners and losers? Nell, we gotta touch on it. Who you got? I know you got a long list.
You know, especially at the guard positions, that could be interesting. Like he could actually come in and, you know, really help and contribute to that team. So I think that was at least for a team that's, I feel like, I hate talking about winners in the draft unless like you're a lottery team, and there wasn't really a franchise changer in my opinion in this draft. But I think Minnesota, I think they elevated themselves, you know, by adding Dillingham in the draft. Who else? Wizards had a good draft.
Yep, they're on my list. Yep. I like Sar, Bub Carrington. I think they added Keyshawn George as well. Those are 3 high upside guys right there. The Wizards coming for you now, I'm telling you. Jordan Poole had his best year.
We'll see.
Not going to be good, but it'll be a little more exciting to watch. Were the Lakers draft winners for you now?
It depends on who you ask. I'm sure Bron feels like a winner. I don't think any of these rookies are like coming in and, you know, helping a championship team or helping a play-in team, you know, take another leap. You can hope, but you know, I don't even know. Everyone's talking about Bronny. I don't even know. Is he even going to touch the court this season? You think?
Yes. I actually think Bronny's going to play. Like,
I don't see him getting in unless they up by like 30 in the 4th. I can't see him getting some first half minutes.
Give me their point guard depth chart.
They still got D'Lo, right?
As of today.
And they still got Gabe Vincent. Austin Reeves. Obviously not a point guard, but guard. Let me look
so
it up.
You named 3 combo guards.
Look, bro.
I'm just saying, they're going to let them try. They're going to try him.
They got Max
Christie. Yeah, no. And they re-signed him. I don't even know what that one was about.
So he got some bread. So
I mean, I got the Lakers as winners, not just because of Bronny. Excuse me. I think the Bronny pick makes some winners just from from the heart, man. Emotionally, like, that's cool, bro. At the end of the day, like, we've never seen that before, and it's dope. The people hating, whatever, talking about nepotism, all that, and the third, like, nepotism's everywhere. That's not how they do it.
I certainly can't wait to see it. I just don't think it's weird. I just don't think it's going to be like any meaningful like minutes.
I mean, at worst, he was a 55th pick, 3 picks away from the end. Yeah, and it ain't hurt nobody. Like, how many 55th picks can you recall? Can you recount right now off the top of your brain? Like, probably 0. You know what I'm saying? I don't get why people are hating on him. I also like the Dalton Connect. Excuse me, Lord. The Dalton Connect pick, I think that makes them a winner. For me, I think, he's one of the better players in this draft. Somebody that I think he was worthy of a top 5 pick. He just was one of the older players. So they didn't, that's that level of scoring, athleticism, shot creation, that's something that they need. I think Man, I forgot what they called him and Austin Reeves together. It was really bad. It was really bad.
Those games should be funny.
It was really bad. But yeah, winners as well. I like the Wizards on there, like you said. I think the Spurs are another winner as well. I think they got Castle, who I like. I think he'll help that team. Losers, I only had like one or two teams that I was kind of like, like what are you doing? One being the Bucks again, kind of double down. They took AJ Johnson, that's Jalen Green's little brother, who I must say I've seen him play in person, and he is actually pretty good. I think a lot of people are looking at like the 2 points per game that he averaged over, I think in the NBL last season. But I think the reason why I say a loser just because I don't think that any of their picks in this draft really are guys that are going to impact your team right now. And as we said about the free agency, like that's a draft that you make if you're going to go add some guys that are going to play. You know what I'm saying? Like AJ Johnson could be really good for him, but this is something that Milwaukee's been doing a lot, right? When they took Marjon Beauchamp in the first round, and we're like, hey, who the hell is that? And then he was a young guy. So I just think that like with Giannis is getting older, Dame is getting older, their team needs some help. Chris Middleton's banged up and older. Brook Lopez, if he's still there, he's old. Like you just got an old roster. So I get why you want to go inject some youth with a 19-year-old AJ Johnson, but it's just like there's some more proven youth, I would say, out there. And then Detroit's draft. I like Ron Holland. I do. But Detroit, the reason why I say their draft loses is because they went through that whole draft with no head coach. And I think that's absurd. Like I think that is like they have a coach now, JB Bickerstaff's coming in, but I think that's weird, right? Like you hired a guy after the draft, after day one of free agency, after you go and sign Tobias Harris for 2 years, $52 million. We didn't even talk about that. My God, what are we doing?
Crazy.
y'all are free agent winners just because
Just off that.
just because he got that deal. But I think you got to make him lose just because of that. Like, I'm not saying he didn't add some guys, but it's just that roster kind of just as composed, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
I like Grizzlies fans at Edie too.
Yeah, I like Edie. Edie's gonna be a good pickup. They needed a 5-man next to Jaren Jackson. Having Jaren Jackson playing the 5 was making him look like he was like y'all know I'm not a big Jaren Jackson fan. So it was making him look like I was right about him. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not good for him. But at least give him a shot.
He'll fit in and he'll play the Steven Adams role, screener, rebounder. I think it's a solid fit.
What do you think about Clingan going to the Blazers alongside DeAndre Ayton?
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to go, right? Because they got Ayton, they got Robert Williams. Now you draft Clingan. They're just not really sure what they're doing up in Portland. Obviously, they drafted Scoot last year. Didn't have the best rookie year. Hoping to see some improvement from him. So yeah, we're just not really sure. It looks like they're not as young as they were. I was about to say they were like the Sixers when they had Okafor, Nerlens, and Embiid all on the roster, but they were all drafted like within 3-4 years of each other. So yeah, I don't know. Ayton, I don't know how big they are. Ayton didn't sign like an extension with them. I think he's got like 2 years left. But not sure what they're gonna do there. I mean, obviously you draft him what, 9th, 7th? What was their pick?
Who?
The Blazers. Yeah, so I mean
So they've got Ayton. He signed a 4-year, 132 deal with the Suns in 2022, 2023. Got traded. So he's 2024, 25. He's making 34 mil. He's making 20. He's making 35, 25, 26, and he's a free agent 26, 27.
So like, are they? Do you think they go Twin Towers, or is
I don't see why?
Is he coming off the bench? Is Clingan coming off the bench?
I don't see that. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. They doing my boy Chauncey Billups dirty out there. They just throwing stuff at him and like, hey, you figure it out. I don't know. That's kind of ugly, but I like Clingan as a player. He definitely fell a little more than I thought. People they're rumblings of him being in the top 1 to 3.
Yeah.
You know how we feel about that. We already talked about that. So I don't know, man. But the free agency's getting good now. It's getting really good. The draft was cool. We got some new blood in the NBA. I think Summer League starting up this weekend. Is it this weekend? Next weekend, the 13th or so. It's going to be fun, man. Are there any, to wrap us up, are there any moves that you foresee, whether it be for your Sixers, any other like any big time moves that you just see, any or maybe just a prediction. Like we're day by day, man. 2 for 2. We on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, YouTube, Spotify. Shoot, about to be live if y'all want to see us live on TV, man. One day, maybe. But as always, continue to show love to us. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. That's gonna do it for us. 2 for 2. Yeah. Where's Zach LaVine and any of the other last big name guys gonna end up?
Let's see. I'm gonna just throw some shit on the wall.
There you go.
To try to save their offseason, the Milwaukee Bucks will get Zach LaVine.
Interesting.
Crazy fit, but like I'm just throwing it on the wall.
All right, man, we'll see.
Nelly's
picks are back.
Somebody got to take Zach LaVine, all right?
I mean, talk about a terrible offseason. One last thing, man. The Bulls, what are they doing, man?
They got fleece.
What are they doing?
They got fleece for Caruso. Who did they draft? I don't know.
Matas Buzelis.
I heard they're trying to move on.
They're trying to move Lonzo. They said DeRozan was done with him after the Giddey trade.
Yeah.
They're trying to move him. They gave Pat Williams 5 years, 90 mil or something crazy.
Crazy.
They don't know what they're doing with Vucevic. The Bulls just doing whatever they gonna do whatever they want, man. But it's all good.
In the front office.
It's all good. It's all good. Just vibe. The Bulls, they'll figure it out one way or another. But the NBA free agency, like we said, man, it's been fun. A lot more deals are still to come. A lot of guys out there, a lot of trades might be going on. Teams are filling out their rosters. We got NBA Summer League coming up pretty soon. The best part about all this is Nell is happy again, man. We got him in his Sixers jersey. In his Sixers, outwardly happy now. Outwardly, you happy. You got your Sixers on.
Trying.
Me and Nell will 1000% be going to a Knicks Sixers game this year.
Book it.
We got to start the 2 for 2 GoFundMe. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. Hey, if y'all want to send me a Nell, bro, give us at least some spending change or something, man.
I'm trying to get the Garden up. I'm trying to go to the Garden too. So y'all hook a brother up.
Never mind. Yeah, we definitely gonna need the GoFundMe to get in the Garden and watch the games this year, man. But that's gonna do it for 2 for 2 today, man. It's season 3, episode 47, man. We touched on a lot. We hope you enjoy it. We appreciate you all. We are in the midst of revamping our social media presence as well, trying to get you all to continue to, interact and show love and do all that. So, y'all keep showing love and we're going to keep improving steadily day by day, man. 2 for 2. We on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, YouTube, Spotify. Shoot, about to be live if y'all want to see us live on TV, man. One day, maybe. But as always, continue to show love to us. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. That's going to do it for us. 2 for 2. Yeah.